Hey, friends, let's talk about mean. No, not being mean, but the mathematical mean, which today you're going to learn is either the fair share, the balance point, or the average. So, what are we doing today? We're understanding that the mean is the average, write that down, the fair share, write that down, or the balance point of a set of numbers. I'll give you examples of what I mean by each of those, and then I'm going to give you a really cool formula, a really fun way to find the mean mathematically. So, when I say that the mean is the fair share, here's what I'm talking about. On an archaeological dig, 5 students found 1, 5, 7, 3, and 4 arrowheads. The students agreed to divide the arrowheads evenly. How many arrowheads should each student get? So these are pretty awesome of these students. There was one kid that found 7, another kid that only found 1, and they're like, you know what? We all spend the same amount of time digging. We should all get the same amount of arrowheads. So here's a way we could think about it. Here is the kid's 1 arrowhead. Here is the one kid's 5 arrowheads. Here's one kid's, guys, this is not working out. Let me go smaller. Okay, smaller. Here's 1 arrowhead for the one kid. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrowheads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 arrowheads. 3 arrowheads and 4 arrowheads. So how could you get a fair amount? How could you make it so they all had the same amount? Well, obviously, the kid who has like 7 is going to share, right? Let's put 3 of them over here. Okay, so that's good. Now, oh, how am I going to do that? Now, this kid right here that has 5, why don't we let him, oh, look how beautiful that is. Now they all have the same amount. What do they all have? They all have 4 arrowheads. So that's what I mean by fair share. The mean of this set of numbers is 4. But what that means is that all of them have the same amount. All 5 students get the same amount. That is the fair share part of the mean. It's giving everyone the same amount. So the mean can also be seen as a balance point. And here's what I mean by that. Mrs. Burnham's class holds a walkathon to help raise money to update the computer lab. 5 of the students walked 1 mile, 1 mile, 2 mile, 4 mile, and 7 miles. The mean distance walked is 3 miles. Now, when I say that the mean is the balance point, if I put this on a little scale like this, and we had a rock right here and a rock right here and a rock here and 2 rocks here, that would actually stay perfectly balanced. So the mean distance walked is 3 miles. Yes, some walked more, some walked less, but that balance point where we have perfect amount of on each side is the 3, is the mean. So 3 is the average. It is the mean of those numbers. So one way we can find the mean is by using counters. If we have 4 students and one student lives 1 mile, one student lives 2 miles, one student lives 3 miles, and one student lives 6 miles from school, what is the mean? Well, let's share some of these. Let's put 2 of them here. So those 2 are gone. And let's put this one here. So that one's gone now. What is the mean? It is 4. On average, students lived 4 miles from the school. That is the tipping point. If we put the point right at 4, then that 6 will balance out the 1, 2, and 3 from over here, and that is perfectly centered. It's the perfect middle for those 4 numbers. So 4 miles is the average, okay? So a dot plot will also help us find that balance point. Rosanna's friends have 0. That's me. I have 0 pets. She has 2 friends that have 1 pet. She has 2 friends that have 2 pets. And she has a friend that has 12 pets, probably chickens, huh? Rosanna says the mean of the data is 3. Do you think that would be fair to say that the mean is 3? Would that be like the perfect balance point? I think that would balance it out pretty well, don't you think? Because you got a 12 over here that's really pulling it down, but then you have a lot right here close. So I think that would be correct, but I'm going to teach you another way to find the mean. Okay, and that is to add them all up. 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 12. So if we added all of the pets up, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another 12 is 18. So add up all the pets together. There's 18 pets. Now let's make it an equal share. Let's make sure everyone has the same amount of pets. Well, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 friends. So let's make it all fair and say that every friend gets 3 pets. Yeah, so 3 would be the perfect balance point. 3 is definitely the mean or the fair share of all of those numbers. So that's how we find the mean. Okay, try this one. You have 4 friends that go to lunch and they spent 6, 9, 10, and $11 on their lunch. They want to split the bill evenly. How could you use dollar bills to find the fair share? Well, why don't we add up all of those dollar bills? Let's add up the 6 and the 9 and the 10 and the 11, see what how tall the stack is of dollar bills. That would be 10, 20, 36 dollars all together. Now that we have a big stack, let's equally pass those out between the 4 friends. So let's divide 36 by 4, and we have $9. If they all wanted to pay and be fair with everyone, then they would each spend $4, and then that would cover all 4 of their bills. Okay, have you figured out the cool little formula? So the formula is to find the sum of all the data and then divide it by however many there are. So here's where we're going to add the sum. We're going to find the sum of all of that. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 6. So once we find the sum, we're then going to divide it by 6. This is where your calculator comes into play. We got 5.8 plus 2.9 plus 6.7 plus 1.6 plus 2.9 plus 4.7. I got 24.6. Now, if I wasn't on video, I'd probably do that again because that was a lot of numbers. I'd go through and make sure that I put all my numbers correctly. But because this is a video and you don't want to spend the entire day watching me see if I checked my work, then we're going to go with that because that actually looks pretty good. Then if I divide it by 6, I get 4.1. So whatever these numbers mean, maybe they're how... Guys, my computer died. It was really sad, but I got it going again. So if my total is 24.6, I divide it by the 6 different numbers, I'm going to get 4.1. So whatever these numbers mean, maybe they mean how fast students ran a certain distance. We could say that the mean or the fair share or the tipping, the balance point, was 4.1 seconds. Some kids ran faster, some kids ran slower, but that is the perfect middle balance point, 4.1. Okay, so let's try this on your own. I'm going to let you do it. Khalifa has a bookcase with 5 shelves. There are 11, 12, 9, 11, and 7 books on each of the 5 shelves. If she rearranges the books so that each shelf has the same number of books, how many books will be on each shelf? All right, so we want to find that fair share. Every shelf wants to have the same amount or they'll be sad that one shelf has more than the other, right? Because that's how shelves are. So let's add up and see how many books we have total. Pull out your calculator for that. Don't include the 5 because the 5 is not how many books. The 5 tells us how many shelves there are. So we got 11 and 12 and 9 and 11 and 7. So we got 50 total books. And if we want to make them equal between the 5 shelves, we're going to divide it by 5, right? Which will give us 10. So 10 books on each shelf. That makes sense, right? Because like these ones with 9 and 7, they need a couple more, and these ones with 11 and 12, they can share with the shelves that only have 9 and 7, so that there will be 10 books on each shelf. We have a perfect balance point. How'd you do? Last one. Ooh, is this the last one? I think we're good. Do you want to try one more? Let's try one more to make it an even 10-minute video. The 6th graders raised money to fund a field trip. The 5 classes raised those amounts. The classes decided to combine the money so that each class would have the same amount. What is the fair share in dollars? So we'll go 42 plus 51 plus 38 plus 49 plus 40. Add that up. And that's going to give me 42 plus 51 plus 38 plus 49 plus 40. 220. Now there were 5 classes. If there were 6 classes, you'd divide by 6, right? If it was our 6th grade, we would just divide by 3 because there's only 3 classes. But we've got 5 different classes here, so we're going to divide by 5. And we're going to see that each class should get $44 for their fair and equal share. And again, looking at these numbers, that makes sense. We have some classes that earned more than that, and some classes that earned, oh, sorry, Porter, I'm going to have to decline you. Some classes that earned less than that, but if we even it all out, the average would be 44. How'd you do? Have fun practicing.